Hi, in this video I'm going to try to summarize the main points in section 5.5, the definite integral. So I asked you to look at number 1, which is find the value of the summation k equals 1 to n of f of x star times delta xk, and then to find the maximum delta xk. So what the heck does that all mean? Let's break it apart. So in number 1, the first thing is we have a function f of x. So what we're going to do first is graph f of x. Well, f of x is x plus 1. So we know that that's a line, it has a y-intercept of 1 and a slope of 1. So that should be pretty clear. The next thing is we're given 2 points, endpoints for the interval we're looking at. A equals 0 and b equals 4. So I'm just going to plot those two here on the, oops, I guess you can't see it too well. There we go. So A is at 0 and B is right here at 4. So the area that we're interested in is this trapezoid right there. So the next thing that we want to look at is we want to say that how big are the intervals that we're going to draw these rectangles from. So this whole thing means that what we're going to do is find the value of f of x as k goes from 1 to n. So n is the number of intervals. The number of rectangles. So what this means is we have 3 rectangles. And the delta x means what is the width of each one, or the change in x. So the first change in x is going to be 1. So the width of the first rectangle is 1. The width of the second rectangle, oops, here we go. Okay, the width of the second rectangle is also 1. So the first one goes from 0 to 1. I hope you can see that. The second one goes from 1 to 2. Again, the width is going to be 1. And delta 3 is 2. That means that this is a length of 2, or a width, I guess you could say, of that rectangle is 2. So it goes from 2 to 4. So now the question is, what is the height of each of these rectangles? Well, what we want to do here is look at, the question says x1 of star should be at 1/3. So if we look at this, we want our x1, see, it could be anywhere in here within this rectangle here. It's saying it should be at 1/3, so I'm looking right here to see when this gets to 1/3, which is 0.3, and it looks like about there. So the height of the first rectangle then is going to be 1/3 plus 1, which is 4/3, times 1, which is the width. So the area of this rectangle right here is 1 plus 1.3 or 1.4, a little rounding error here, right? So it's 1 times 1 plus 1/3. Now let's look at delta x star 2. X star 2 is 3/2. Okay, so if we look here, it could go anywhere between 1 and 2. They want it to go right in the middle at 3/2, or 1.5. So now my x star 2 is 1.5. So the area of this rectangle is going to be the height of the rectangle, which is 1.5 plus 1, which is 2.5. That's the length of the height right there. And then the width again is 1, so it should be 2.5 times 1, or, okay, so it looks like this might be off just a little bit. It should be 2.5. So I think what's happening here is this rectangle might be a tad bit small. Alright, then now I'm going to move this back because this should be just about 1.5. Good enough. Alright, so now the third one, x sub 3, is at 3 here. So that means it could go anywhere from 2 to 4, but what we're looking at is we want the height to be right at 3, which is the middle of the rectangle. So then the height of this rectangle is f of x3 star. So that is 3 plus 1 is 4. Okay, so it's going to be 4, and then however the width of this rectangle is, and it should be 2. So it should be about 8. And let's see here. Oh, that's plotted. Close enough. It's 7.98. So what we're interested in here is, if we go back to the original problem here, this is a summation. So again, let's review everything that it's saying. It's saying we wanted to add together three things, actually four things. We're going to go from 1 to 4 because we're given that, I'm sorry, 1 to 3 because n is 3. So we're going to go, when k is 1, then we're talking about this interval here, and x1, delta x1 is 1, that means the width, and f of x1 is at 1/3. Then k gets incremented to 2. So now x sub k is now x sub 2 star. Well, we were given that x sub 2 star should be about 1.5. So this should be at 1.5. And then f of x is going to be 1.5 plus 1, which is 2.5. And the width again is 1 because delta x2 was given as 1. Now we increment k one more time, and we say k equals 3, and when we have, that means x sub k is x sub 3, and this time they said x sub 3 star should be equal to 3, which means we put this here. Now when I say f of x star, that means f of x, I put 3 in here, I get 3 plus 1 is 4, so the height of this rectangle is 4 times its width. Well, the delta x4 we were given to be 2. So that means we're going to say 2 on the bottom here. So 2 times 4 is 8. And when you add all these together, you will get the area of the rectangles, the sum of the rectangles, which is somewhat of an approximation to the area under that line. So that's the goal for number 1. I hope this has helped clarify a little bit more what the all of these symbols mean.